live now. Yeah, we are live. Let's see what it looks like. Moving over to the YouTube. Yeah, we are live. Let's see what. Okay, so this is an impromptu live stream that's being posted on Doe Eyes because I don't feel like it is the kind of content I want to put on Sexplanations, at least not yet, until I really understand my relationship to live streams and the channel, etc. So there's a lot going on in my mind, and I want a place to put it, and this is what I have figured out. So let me switch back over here. There we go. Pause the video, so I'm not watching myself move, but in a weird lag time. All right, resetter. I am in Idaho Falls, Idaho, on the first stop of the second leg of the Sexplanations road tour. So if you've been following it all, we have been doing a road tour since January, and we did the West Coast and then part of Europe, and then stopped in Denver, went to Missoula for 2 weeks of respite, and now we've started up again, and Idaho Falls is where we're at for the evening. And I usually just tuck the information that I get from a city away in my little brain, and we'll like talk about it maybe in a blog or in snippets on Sexplanations episodes. But there's so much going on in my mind right now that I asked to do a live stream and just sat down because I need to say some stuff about what just happened. There's like so much that I want to free associate. Maybe it will turn into a clean cut Sexplanations episode, but right now these are just some of my random thoughts about my experience. So what happened? We showed up at the Starbucks here in Idaho Falls. I think it's the one on 17th Street. I'm so grateful to them, by the way, just for welcoming us into their space and not objecting to our content or trying to censor us or even rejecting us was awesome. So if you're in this area and you want some sort of warm or cold beverage, please let them know. Go to Starbucks. Let them know that you appreciate them supporting Sexplanations. So we went in, and already there was a whole table full of people. They were just like, our people. I say that because they're not just my people. We are community together. And they were there, and they were smiling. And I sat down. I was in this like outfit because I'm trying to do this thing I called show up, which means like put on a show, go above and beyond who I am like on a day-to-day basis. So this is my cozy sweater. I've been wearing it all day with snow pants, my Costco socks, and I instead bra because I want to like show up. So I did that, and I walked in. Everybody was nice. Sat down, and I had this backpack here full of sex education stuff, and I basically said I will talk and answer any sex questions that you have, and as you bring things to my attention, I'll pull things out of the bag and we'll learn that way. And instead, what happened is that I learned so much about the lack of sex education in this community. It's not just this community, to be fair. This is happening all over the world. But the people who showed up at this Idaho Falls presentation were so kind to share with me their experiences. I want to pause for a second and read the chat here. Okay. All right. So I made notes of the things that I want to remind myself to say in this documented platform here, even if nobody watches it, which is really not about you guys, you all. It is about me just sharing these free association thoughts. So they informed me that their sex ed in Idaho is typically separated by genders, which is a very binary system. And I will comment on that shortly. And then they watch what is colloquially known as the scary movie. And by that, they mean a video about puberty and wearing deodorant, and that's what I got from it. But I think it's probably also body hair and menstruation and erections. I don't know. I haven't seen the video or the movie. So that is just a glimpse at what sex education is like. And then they proceeded to describe higher education, sex education. And because a lot of the community here is Latter-day Saints, there are private schools where people will go and, you know, they're private, they're their own institution. I don't want to be telling them how to do their work, but I definitely have some thoughts and feelings. And one of them is a major objection to the fact that students are expelled if they have premarital sex. And some of them who are raped are expelled because the school or whoever is there interprets that as premarital sex. That's hugely problematic to me. And I don't know how they want to run their business, and people can choose whether or not to go to school there. But I wish there was something that I could do to make that less victim blaming and more sex positive. I don't know. It was really disheartening to hear. Also, I learned that, I don't know if this is still going on or if it was ever the case, but someone brought up this sex education, not sex education, sex communication system, where on these campuses, they're segregated by some of the genders. So women go over here and men go over here. And if a person was advertising prostitution, like they were saying, hey, I'm game to have sex with you if you pay me, then they would take a tennis racket and they would put it in their window, and the tennis racket with the I don't know my anatomy of a tennis racket, but the larger circular part up and the handle down meant, yes, game for you to come pay me for sex. And if it was the other way around, that would be, no, not tonight. Maybe I'm busy or I'm studying or whatever. That was fascinating. I am super curious as to whether or not that's actually a thing or just a tale. There's also soaking. I talked with the group about soaking because there's so many people from the LDS community or people who were a part of the LDS community, Latter-day Saints. I wanted to know if this is something that's prevalent or even happening at all. The concept of a penis going inside a vagina and it not moving. And so it's not sex. It's not a sin. They're not breaking any of the rules of the church. They're soaking, not having sex. And it sounds like that's very popular practice. Let me know what your experiences are. What else did I learn from them on that subject? Expelled for having sex, expelled for being raped. Oh, yeah. The other thing that really struck me was that somebody, and I've heard this before, but somebody was talking about this couple who kept coming into clinic saying, sex is really painful for me. Sex is really painful. It's painful for us. We don't know what's wrong. And finding out that they were having anal that whole time because they weren't aware of anatomy and how it might be more comfortable if a penis was going into a vagina. I know that came across as very hetero and cis. I apologize for the gaps in my story and my discombobulatedness. I just worked and did this full presentation, and I'm just back in my home RV, but I want to tell you these things. So let me finish this list, and then I'm going to get off of YouTube and go have creme brulee and cuddle. All right, a few more things. I love the questions that I was asked. One was, how can I not shame kiddos when I am like correcting behaviors that might be sexually inappropriate? So for example, this person works with small children, 2-year-olds. One of them pulls down their pants in the classroom or whatever setting that they're in, and she doesn't want to shame them by telling them like, oh no, you gotta pull up your pants, like don't show your privates. But she still wants to teach what is socially acceptable. And I kind of liked my answer, which was to congratulate the little, to say, look, like, oh, how exciting, you figured out how to remove your pants all by yourself. Now you can, how did I finish it? Now you can learn that we do that when we're in the bathroom, about to go to the bathroom, or maybe to take a bath, or when we're at home in some place that we call private. When we leave our pants on when we're around other people. See, another question that I was asked was about, isn't this a fun live stream? Oh, how to educate someone who's 11 years old about accurate sex information. So a lot of the up and coming children, students, etc., turn off the heat, they're getting a lot of information that is not true. It is harmful. So this person is saying, how do I educate them about what is true without coming across as, maybe, these are my words, not theirs, like domineering or bossy or a know-it-all, etc. And my suggestion to them was to talk about their own experiences being 11 and what they were misinformed about regarding sexuality, and then telling what they learned as they grew up through the years about what is actually true, as a way of modeling that they are an informed source for sex education, so that that young person is maybe inspired to come to them with questions, and also offering themselves as a resource. So I'll give an example. One might say, oh yeah, when I was 11, we were told that you could douche, like squirt Mountain Dew into a vagina, and you wouldn't get pregnant, because the yellow dye number 5 reduces sperm count if people drink it. And so the logic is, like, put the yellow dye number 5 right into the vagina, and it'll just lower the sperm that's going in to account for not, anyway. Oh, mushy brain. And I have since learned that douching is not a healthy practice, because it flushes out all of the good bacteria in the vagina that help keep it really flourishing and healthy and properly operating. And that Mountain Dew, having sugar in it, at least I think it does, it has some sort of sweetener, can actually increase the chance of a yeast infection, which is when the positive bacteria that we have in our system get way out of control because they're being fed, I think. This is why Sexplanations videos are so tight, because they're well researched and they're written and edited. The raw version of Lindsay. Here you go. Idaho Falls. It's been great. Okay, so I like those. And let's see, the last 3 things I'll share. There's a piece about sexual orientation and how when minority sexual orientations come out, people with minority sexual orientations come out. They say, I am bisexual, I am pan, I am homosexual, gay, lesbian, ace, I'm asexual. That the people around them tend to treat them like they are this resource for all of their questions. Like suddenly they become the token bisexual and like, oh, everything I want to know how you have sex, and I want to know if you're going to do this and how you feel about that and what positions, etc. And how that can be annoying when you're just trying to do your job or go to school or buy your groceries and you don't want to answer questions about your sexual orientation just because you happen to be the out gay person in this person's world, which is a common experience and has come up in multiple locations where we've stopped to speak. And so I responded by saying that in that position, I would applaud the person's curiosity to say like, wow, it's really awesome that you're curious. And I am at work right now. So this is not an appropriate time for us to talk about my sexual orientation. But here's some resources, or if you are willing, you could offer to meet with that person during a lunch break or after work. Okay, pause. I'm gonna read the chats because messages have come in. Okay, to answer some of the questions from the chat, the tour is going well. We're not coming to Lubbock, Texas, I don't think. We did a Washington stop, but we'll be back there in the summer. Okay, and thank you all for the compliments and the support. 2 more things. Polyamory Sources. So someone asked, in terms of their own relationship as polyam person, when people come to them and want to understand their orientation, their relationship dynamics, their identity, etc., that they want more resources to share with those individuals. And I suggested the list that I usually give. There's many more people than this, but Tristan Taramino, Reed Mahalko, Cunning Minx, Shan Boudram, who talks a lot on her YouTube channel, Shan Booty, about being in an open relationship, Franklin Vo. I'm forgetting people, but that's a starter list. And then I realized that the Sexplanations podcast actually has a lot of interviews with polyam people. So even though it's not on Sexplanations YouTube channel very often, it is on the podcast. Okay. The last thing, which is really what I would love to do a Sex YouTube episode about, because it was an epiphany moment for me. And I think that I can structure it in a way that is so powerful. I don't have it there right now. So I'm just going to talk this out as a way to document my thoughts for organizing later. I kept hearing the people in Idaho Falls talking about the segregation of their sex ed, like boys here, girls here. Or, yeah, when they put the boys in this room, then the boys learn about penises. And it was very binary and cis and all of these things. And I started thinking about how to teach the concept of gender, and that being that there are more than two communities that are traditionally very binary. And I thought about this conversation that I had with Britt Gardner. She does the Nature League on YouTube, and I think that it was on a podcast interview that I did with her. Someone, maybe Jenny from Science Mom. I've had lots of these conversations where people talk to me about different species being categorized by scientists to have multiple genders. So more than 2 genders in these species of fish or bird or whatever it is that have been identified as distinct from each other. And in other cultures around the world, there are more than 2 genders. And yes, gender is a concept that is organized through human language to categorize things. So it's our choice whether or not to have this. But because we are creating it, we decide what gender looks like and what gender means. And by that, I mean we develop and we grow, and we as a community take knowledge and we learn from people, and we struggle with this. But religion is actually a solution here. So an analogy that I think fits perfectly is the fact that we have religions. Let's say they're started off as 1 or 2, and those religions are like the male-female binary. And if we segregate them, they don't learn about each other, which is hugely problematic. But if we said, oh, there can only be 2, you can't call yourself Catholic or Protestant. You can only be Jewish or whatever it is. The people in those communities would be real ticked off. They want to be honored for their identities and their experiences and their beliefs, who they are and how they express themselves. And so we as an entire world have said, yes, it is true. There are more than 2 religions. Even though religion is like the same, it's like, a human construct. And we allow people to have those religions, and we protect them with anti-discrimination laws, and we allowed them to have like their own churches and their own belief systems and do kind of fucked up shit, like kick people out of school for having sex. I don't know. So I'm going to put all these thoughts together really beautifully, like in a way that is not offensive and doesn't jeopardize sex positivity. And then I'm gonna make it an episode that's called something like Religion is the Solution to Gender. And it's gonna get people all goofy, and then they're gonna want to watch maybe, and then they're gonna learn, and then they're gonna be like, oh gosh, if I can be whatever religion I want or have whatever belief system that I want, that is what I believe, that is who I am, then why can't somebody identify as non-binary or neutral or genderqueer? Had an epiphany in Idaho Falls. All right, it's been a lovely first day of the second leg of the tour. Went and walked along the waterfalls here. Had a lovely food truck Mexican dinner, which was way too spicy, so I ended up eating leftovers. And now I'm going to go cuddle. Wait, but first I'm going to read the comments and answer any questions. Whoop, whoop, before I go, because this is such a special thing, and I think I actually might do it every time we do a stop, so that I have a way of documenting this, because it's really hard for me to like sit down and blog and send pictures and all of that. All right. What do you recommend for someone who has a question and can't find the information through Google? Talk to a librarian. Are you doing well? I am. Can you do a video about ANR? I don't know what that is. Okay. No more questions, just lovely compliments and support. You are all so incredible. I'm going to see if I can log out now and wish you all a wonderful evening. Doe eyes!